Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. How are you doing? In the last video, we talked about the different database management systems that we have. We talked about the relational model, the different types of data that we have, the ones that we can store in our relational model, and the different data types that you can find in a relational model. So today, we'll be talking about something equally important called the entity relationship model. I'm sure you must have heard somebody talk about an ER model or an entity relationship model. What are ER models or what are entity relationship models? Let's start from entities. Entities are the different things in your business that you would want to store data about. So, for example, if you own a store, let's say your store sells shoes. You sell shoes, and what would you want to store data about for your store? You would want to store data about your different products, about your employees, about your customers, etc. So your employee is an entity, your product is an entity, so it is also the table. So an entity is also a table. In a database, you find different entities, and then each entity has attributes. So again, you have your employee entity. Under your employee, you have different attributes like their name, their first and last name, their date of death, the employment date, and the role, for example, their role in the organization or what they are doing basically. So those are the different attributes you could have in an entity. And in a database, you could have different entities that is doing different things. So basically, we have two really popular ones, not really popular. So in a database, your entity could be a fact or a dimension. What are fact tables or fact entities? A fact table is a table that contains data that has quantity, that is measurable based on your business process. So back to our example of a store that sells shoes. What would the fact table would be in this case? You could have a fact table that records your sales. So you have sales every day, regardless of if a customer is coming 1 or 1,000 times, you record the sales that has been made to that customer. So the table that records all sales would be the fact table, while a table that holds each unique customer would be the dimension table. So a dimension table describes your business process. So it doesn't have to contain numbers, but it will be describing. So the customer table could have every information about your customer, while on the fact table you have your sales, how much you've gotten from that customer, how much discounts you've given that customer, how much quantity or what quantity of product the customer has purchased, etc. And one thing to also note is that out of all the different attributes you have in an entity, there is one that is really important. We call it the key attribute or the primary key. The primary key helps you to connect your fact table to your dimension table, or it helps you to connect one table to another table. So we also have secondary keys that is different from the primary key. I will be showing you better. I believe these things are better with practical, so I will be showing you this practically. We also have some set of entities that we call weak entities. These are entities that depend on another entity to exist. For example, if you have a product table and you have another table that is called sub-products, so your sub-product table would be based on your product table. So the sub-product table is a weak entity. And another example is if you have a table, for maybe you have an employee wellness program in your organization, and then you have a table for employees, but this wellness program also includes their dependents. So you have employee dependent table. That is another entity, but it's a weak entity because it depends on the employee. Without a particular employee, there can't be a dependent. I hope you understand. Now let me practicalize or draw an entity relationship model. So basically, from the name, entity relationship model is a model that shows how different entities relate in your data model. So right now I'll be taking you to my drawing pad to show you how entities relate. The different entities that I had mentioned in this video, I would be drawing them to show you how it relates. So I will be showing you an example of an ERD that I have drawn. I drew it off camera because it took me a while to make sure it looks presentable. So this is the product. You can see that all the entities are represented with a rectangle, the attributes with a circle or an oval, and then the relationship with a what is this, a diamond. And then we have different kinds of relationship. We have one-to-many relationships, so you can have one here, and like many, usually many is represented with a kind of a chicken leg thing, or you can represent the one part as like this, and then with your chicken leg. So we have one-to-many, which is usually what you have on a star schema. This is okay, I'll be explaining different kinds of model later, but this is like an entity relationship table that is connecting sales to employee, and it shows how the different ones are connected. So each product that is sold is recorded in the sales table, each customer that buys is recorded in the sales table, each employee that sells is recorded in the sales table, and etc. These are just examples of attributes that can be in each one. Employees can have countless of attributes, like lots of attributes compared to the dimension tables can have lots of attributes compared to the fact table. So for the fact table, can you guess which other attributes should be on this table? So we could still have this sales date or the order date, and different kinds of different other attributes could be there. These are just simple examples of what could be there. So this is our ERD, or that is, you can say ERD, that's entity relationship diagram, or you can say ER model. So you do this in your database. When I draw it like this on a paper, or when I conceptualize it like this, it is a conceptual model. But when you bring it into your database, it becomes a logical model. And based on this, you can do different kinds of business intelligence activities. So recapping what we have done so far today, we have explained what entity relationships are, what entities are, what how the different relationships. Okay, I only mentioned one-to-many relationships. So we have one-to-many like in our diagram here, and we can also have many-to-many relationship. Many-to-many relationship means that many is coming from the key that you're connecting with on the two tables. So let me assume you have your sales table, and you have a sales table, sales, and you have an orders table. Usually these two are fact table and orders. These two are fact tables, so you shouldn't have both of them together. But if these two would be connecting together in a dimension, in a database, if these two will be connected together in a database, it might be a many-to-many relationship. And another relationship you can have is a one-to-one relationship. So in this video, we have learned different kinds of relationship. We learned that we have the many-to-many relationship, the one-to-many relationship, and the one-to-one relationship. We also learned that entities are the tables in your database, or whatever data you want to save in your whatever you want to save data about in your business. And then attributes are the different columns that you can find in each entity. So a simple assignment for you, you can drop your answers in the comments. You don't have to draw, you don't have to do anything. If you'll be creating an ER model for a university, mention 2 entities you would definitely find in this ER model. Drop your answers in the comments. I will be reading it. I will be grading you. All right, thank you. See you in the next one. Bye.